Forrest, how familiar are you with the lore of the Young Turks and their crash out? Did you follow the Francesca Fiorentini?
I mean, I've mostly watched you guys talk about it.
Hell yeah, I'd love to hear that. So obviously we've been in the corner for our homie Francesca, and she has been basically vindicated across the board in her critique of Cenk. And here, I'll move the camera 1 second. Forrest will bring you right back. I just got to add the camera. But anyway, Laura Loomer came out and to nobody's surprise, changed her position entirely. And here, Forrest, I'll go ahead and move you. Let's see how I can stack this so we can look at everything. I'll probably do 2 different layouts, but let's start with Laura Loomer. Nobody said Israel above all, you loudmouth, lying Muslim propagandist. This is in response to Cenk Uygur. I know a lot of people of your kind foam at the mouth when they get visions of raping kids like Muhammad and killing Jews like Muhammad. But where did I say Israel above all? How does me calling you out for lying when you said Trump was going to do a tactical nuke on Iran make me Israel first? You lied, and there's something about a lot of Arab people in their DNA and their upbringing that makes these people tell the most insane lies for the sake of attacking Jews and undermining the United States. This is your brain on Zionism. It is a national security risk we should have taken seriously after 9/11. It's like a sickness in your DNA, Cenk Uygur. I think it's a genetic abnormality with you that causes you to lie about things in the U.S., dropping a nuke on Iran, and to foam at the mouth every time you hear the word Jew. So that is fucking obviously deranged, racist nonsense from Laura Loomer.
I mean, she's got to be like in the top 5 most mentally ill Americans, though, right? Like, here,
at least that's at a position of somewhat influence, like power influence. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's like people on the subway that that like scream to themselves or something that like are crazier than her. But like in terms of, I don't even want to say she has like a job, but in terms of like people that somehow manage to earn a paycheck or something doing whatever the fuck, like apparently she now consults and like does a thing where she'll there's like, I was listening to TrueAnon and they were talking about this, where there's like a Laura Loomer will like stalk your like the person you're gonna marry or something, and will like find out all the information about them, like a private detective for MAGA people.
Yeah, that's why they say like you got loomered or whatever.
Yeah,
because she's
but apparently she's taking that now. She does some kind of like agency work or something like that, where she's like taking that and tried to turn it into like a business model, try to loomer people for
She really is crazy, like to a whole another fucking level. And this is someone, by the way, Laura Loomer, it's not just a complete rando. The reason why this is relevant, you guys can go back and watch our video about it. Cenk was giving her credit not that long ago. Cenk was literally like, I know she's a racist and I know she hates me for being Muslim, but she's willing to buck the orthodoxy of her party and of the establishment, or something freaking ridiculous.
She's willing to buck the orthodoxy of not listening to the voices in your head.
It's crazy to say, by the way, because you can literally take her screenshot from before Donald Trump did any escalations with Iran, and she's calling him the anti-war person. She's calling him the peace candidate. She's talking about how she would never support escalations with Iran under Biden. If you go back into her Twitter feed, and yet the second Donald Trump does the 3 strikes on the nuclear facilities in Iran, she's saying, we trust you, Mr. President. We stand with you, Mr. President. She immediately does an about face. She immediately changes her talking points completely. And it's because she's not an honest actor. Obviously, she's a deranged racist, but she's also a deranged racist who's paid to agree with the president.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're very, very, I think that Trump is very lucky to have her. Like, well, because like, I don't know, like the fact that she is so clearly mentally ill and crazy is like, it's like nobody else is going to go that far, right? Like nobody else is going to go that far to be that like insane. And I feel like Trump is very lucky to have, because it's not like he gave her a job and was like, hey, you're the White House, press report. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so she's outside of the fucking White House zone just enough, but also like,
she's an attack dog. Yeah.
Yeah. He has like, I don't think you could like manufacture an attack dog that good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of similar to Elon. Obviously, he was, a special government employee or whatever, but he also is like an unhinged, drug addicted, mentally ill person who played a similar role, albeit with a much higher profile, until things fizzled out, of course. But, Francesca responds to this. So she posts a screenshot of it. and says, I was told by Cenk that the MAGA base was anti-war and not what they've always been, raging Islamophobes. Still, I'm sure America First will come to our rescue any moment now, just as soon as they're done eating Trump's whole ass. So obviously, we've covered the back and forths between Francesca and Cenk. She used to work for the Young Turks as a contributor, long time contributor. I feel like some people, they might have just started watching TYT in the last couple years, or maybe they've only been paying attention to it because of the crazy crash out and all the drama. But to people like me who have been paying attention to the Young Turks since 2015, you will know that Francesca was a long time member of that show. She was always a part, always a contributor. Like I said, going back a long ass time. I remember when Jimmy Dore and her had a feud back in 2015. Either way, she got let go by the Young Turks. She got publicly fired and smeared by Cenk on a ridiculous live episode. And now they've kind of been going back and forth for a while. It seems like, to us at least, that everything Francesca said and everything she's predicted has come true or been vindicated, whereas all of Cenk and Anna's takes and strategic sort of theories have aged like fucking milk.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know. I don't. It's there's a weird, Cenk feels like he's getting crazier. But he already seemed pretty it seemed like he lost it a while ago. But there's a sense of narcissism that pervades all of his things, where it seems I don't know, if you whisper in his ear, you're like, dude, I think if you're ever president again, you could save America. He'd be like, I've been saying this. There's just something so I don't know. I hate it. I really don't like it.
So Anna responds to this tweet from Francesca, as you can see here. She says, wild conclusion considering Tucker Carlson bodied Ted Cruz this week for being a neocon cheerleader for regime change in Iran. You think Tucker's audience is full of anti-war leftists? Give me a fucking break. Control your hate boner for once in your life, Franny. Which is weird. By the way, before I let you guys respond to this, because I'll let you respond to it, Anna loves to use the phrase hate boner. She's described us as having a hate boner for her. It's not everyone who criticizes you wants to fuck you. Is that the implication? You know what I'm saying? It's just weird that she describes everyone from us to Francesca as having a hate boner for her and or Cenk and the Young Turks. But either way, what do you guys think of this?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's funny she knows that she has enough sense, or she has enough awareness to know that Twitter is really bad for her. And she's legitimately, I mean, I wish she wasn't full-blown reactionary, because she really was a very nice person when I've talked to her and stuff. But I don't know. It feels like she knows, she has enough self-awareness to know Twitter is bad for her, and then every 2 months she pops up and says the most unhinged shit that you could possibly say to somebody used to work for her or work with her, and then pops back off and then doesn't tweet for 2 months. And it's this feels even more unhealthy than just staying on Twitter, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's also just so easily debunked, and that's what's also problematic about this. So she's so desperate to stroke off Tucker Carlson or give him a W or whatever, and it's yeah, he did a good job in the vacuum, right? That exchange with Ted Cruz was good. It's fucking embarrassing. Nobody in mainstream media would handle a senator like that, and Tucker Carlson has to come out as an exemplary example. Even though he's a total fucking fraud, but he also already called to apologize to Donald Trump. Trump claimed Carlson, who has been critical of the administration's handling of the conflict in the Middle East in recent days, called him to apologize. Quote, he called and apologized the other day because he thought he had said things that were a little too strong, and I appreciate that.
What a world, by the way, that going after, you have to call Trump to apologize for going too hard on Ted Cruz. Trump's hey, that's my thing. His dad killed JFK.
That is crazy. Yeah, that's a good point, because obviously it was Trump himself that famously destroyed Ted Cruz.
He called his wife ugly.
Yeah, and his wife too.
Bro, imagine kissing the ass of a dude that said you had an ugly wife. I'm what the, where is your self-respect, dude? At least Paul Ryan had the decency to disappear from politics forever after he went to the match with Donald Trump. He was I'm not gonna ever kiss that guy's ass. It's the one thing I have to give Paul Ryan, is that he just fucked off into the sunset and never came back.
Same with John Kasich. He was I will never fucking grovel to this piece of shit.
And it's, again, they're horrible assholes, but at least they have fucked off. respectfully. And then you have this right here, came out this morning. These are folks who were polled after the June 21st June 21st strikes that Donald Trump ordered on the nuclear sites in Iran, of the Republican Party that Cenk and Anna are so desperate to claim are anti-war. Only 5% somewhat disapproved of those airstrikes and 8% strongly disapproved. So we have single digits strong disapproval, okay, and single digit somewhat disapproval, 13% total. And yet they want you to think this is reflective of the entire Republican Party. That means 87% of the Republican Party, okay, is either neutral or supportive of it, right? And they have a direct 68% of the Republican Party coming out and saying, like, I'm gung-ho about it. Let's fuck up with and go to war with Iran.
Yeah, it's crazy. And as we talked about the other day, a lot of these idiots, they'll say they're anti-war, but they don't even consider us bombing Iran to be an act of war. They don't consider it an actual war until Americans start getting killed, until their fucking, brethren starts coming home in caskets. Then it's a war. But right now they're like, who gives a fuck? Trump's just, striking another Middle Eastern country. That's nothing new. And to be fair, it's not anything new. Even Obama did that shit. But let's take a look at this real quick, because I wanted to go back to this thread. Anna Kasparian, here she responds to this reply under the tweet she made, quoting Francesca. She gets a response from Sean of Actual Justice Warrior, which is a shitty, racist, tough on crime, pro police YouTube channel hosted by this douchebag. And he's now, totally friendly with Anna, buddy. Anna hates all of her former left-wing colleagues and allies, people like Francesca, who she worked with for years, but she's totally happy to be buddy with this piece of shit, who says, Anna, to be 100% fair to Franny, your whole shift has always been secretly about winning over Laura Loomer, right? Sure, you explained your reasoning with words, but you must have tapped Laura be my Fwin, Laura Loomer, my heart in Morse code that only Francesca saw, right? And then Anna pretends that that's funny, even though it's not. It's not at all funny. But I don't
like that guy's face. Like, there's something on it.
He has the most punchable face for sure. Yeah. His commentary is dog shit. I mean, I could forgive his, appearance if he had good politics, but he fucking doesn't. He has literally some of the worst, dumbest, most racist fucking pro-police takes and videos out there. And Anna doesn't give a shit about anything that he stands for just because he'll kiss up to her, just because he'll affirm, her anti-left-wing talking points and make her feel like, she's totally right about everything.
I'm pretty sure that guy's one of those
like Anna anymore.
That guy lives in New York, and I'm pretty sure he's one of those guys that got like really activated by the concept of bail reform.
Oh, dude, he was really into that.
Yeah, that's like his channel's whole like. Yep. He's like, there's criminals out on the streets. It's like,
oh yeah, that's his.
There's one in the White House that he cares about.
He lives to suck off the police. This dude worships the police, like Actual Justice Warrior. Like, basically, it's just a simp for the PD.
Yeah, 100%. So either way, I just thought it was worth spotlighting. Again, much like Cenk says, oh, you can't say that I'm buddies with Charlie Kirk. It's like, well, then why do you treat him like your fucking buddy? You're gonna condescend Crystal and Kyle and treat them like shit. You disrespect them on their own show, but then you're gonna
go out for like drinks with
Charlie exactly. Kirk or something. It's the same shit with Anna Kasparian. It's like, this is your people. This is your side now. This is who's positively, boosting you and associating with you, and this is who you're responding to instead of any of the people you used to call an ally. So that's worth noting. Cenk himself also jumped in here. Let's go over to this tab. Goddamn, one sec. Yeah, there we go. No, not this one.
All anti-war refugees.
We can also talk about that one, but there's a response specifically that I wanted to get into to this Francesca tweet here. I got it right here. He says, this is the perfect example of radical right and radical left. So Francesca's basically just the left-wing equivalent of Laura fucking Loomer. Loomer comes in with an unhinged identity politics attack against me. Then Francesca thinks there's no one.
That's such a funny way to say just racism. An unhinged identity politics attack against me.
You're right. That is literal just racism.
There's no like hate crimes don't exist anymore or whatever. It's just I was injured in an unhinged identity politics attack.
Yeah. Then Francesca thinks there's no one in MAGA opposed to the war and that they're all represented by Laura Loomer. And she attacks me for trying to unify on opposing the war. Why don't you guys get together and weirdly insult each other and leave the rest of us out of it? And I was told by the radical left that they were all about protecting vulnerable communities. But when Loomer attacks me for being Muslim, Francesca is almost throwing a party over it. Yeah, that's definitely a total fucking straw man, considering how many times that Cenk accused Crystal and Kyle of straw manning him. What an outrageous straw man to act like,
Isn't that
Francesca just loves racism. She just loves
he just did an identity politics.
Where?
He's like, she attacked me for being Muslim. Isn't that kind of doing an identity politics to make
to
make your point? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want or need her help, but I'm amused at how full of shit she is. So what's your response to that, Zach?
I mean, I just think it's hilarious because he has to come out here and make himself the victim in every single situation, even when these are the people that he decided to, cuddle up to. It's the same way where it's like, Anna got a tampon thrown at her by some shithead MAGA bro. And it's like, yeah, that guy should get punched in the face for throwing a tampon at a woman he was disagreeing with. But it's also like, you lay down with dogs, you get fleas, homie. You know what I mean? You reap what you sow. These are the people that you decided to spend your time with. You think Sam Cedar and Emma Vigland are low-rent grifters, but you want to kick it with the PBD podcast home team? You know what I mean? You want to take checks from Patrick Bet David. You want to take blood money from Peter Thiel and Polymarket Studios and then cast aspersions on everyone else? Like, come on. This is who you decided to make your team. You're being called out.
Wait, when did they get money from PBD?
Oh, Anna Kasparian hosts a show on the PBD network.
That's that new one, right?
It's his attempt to diversify into women's spaces, and she was on there the other day, talking to, like, just basically dunking on like some random ass trans high school student that was playing sports, and it was like an 18-year-old kid, and they're throwing this kid's picture up in a high school fucking uniform, and I'm like, how deranged and pathetic do you have to be a 35-year-old woman, however the hell old Anna Kasparian is, a grown-ass adult, and sit there and make fun of a high school student? Like, and yet you want to come out here and talk about how you shouldn't make weird insults. Like, this is what you do. That's all you do.
I do think I like the fact that Patrick Bet David started paying Chris Cuomo, and now Chris Cuomo's on his payroll to just be a court jester.
He barely even comes on there either, from what I can tell.
Yeah. But they bring him on, and then everyone dunks on him, and then he goes home and cries, and then he gets really angry about Iran. And in my head, I'm like, because there's literally like episodes of the PBD podcast, which is not something that I would ever subject myself to for long periods of time. But I remember there's an episode of it. I think there's multiple ones where he's hanging out with the the son of the Shah, Reza Pahlavi, whatever that guy's name is. Like the guy lives in Maryland. That was like the Shah's eldest son. That there's like a really unhinged Iranian community in like America and in Europe that thinks they're just gonna like install a guy that's been hanging out in like a mansion in Maryland for like 30 years, like as the king of
Juan Guaido situation.
Yeah, pretty much. But like,
a good movie,
it's like a dedicated. I don't think many of them exist in real life. I mean, I'm sure there's like secret groups of like diaspora Persian Iranians that are like oh, I can't wait to get the Shah back. But like, I don't think that that's like a real constituency besides like online, but they've been like made themselves very loud online that they think that guy, and I think Patrick Bet David's definitely one of them.
Yeah, another just banger from Cenk over here. Oh god, he's
been tweeting all morning. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's impossible to find anything now because everything that I thought was going to be right here. Okay, here's one.
This is the newest one. This was posted like 10 minutes ago. He's probably watching our show right now and like fucking firing back on Twitter.
Cenk, thanks for paying our rent, buddy. We couldn't have done it without you. And Cenk comes out here and says, almost all the other left-wing hosts think there's no difference between hardcore MAGA and the bro shows. They think Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Andrew Schultz, and Tim Dillon will all switch from anti-war to pro-war because Daddy Trump told them to. I don't think so. Let's see who's right. Well, Theo Vaughn was literally just kicking it with JD Vance. Okay. So it doesn't seem like he's, fleeing from the ship yet. And the reality is all of those guys already did their job for Donald Trump. All of those guys accomplished what Donald Trump needed from them, which was getting him reelected. They can criticize him on the margins now and then underscore every single cultural or identity politic feud that Donald Trump would support, and they're going to be just fine, and their MAGA base isn't going to go anywhere, and they're also not going to care too much about the war.
Yeah, this is such a crazy tweet. And again, it's just wild that Cenk can't stop fucking doubling down over and over and over again on this issue when it's been so clearly kind of debunked. And like people have articulated what their fucking issue is already with his strategy. It's not that there's any problem whatsoever with uniting on issues of agreement with people who otherwise agree with you. The issue is the way Cenk does it, the way he panders to MAGA, the way he puts on the kid gloves when he goes to talk with Dr. Phil or Charlie Kirk. And then you compare that to the way he talks with people on the left or talks about people on the left behind their fucking back. That's what's unacceptable. When you throw your own allies in the trash and under the bus, only to turn around and pander to the other side, who's conveniently full of a bunch of fucking fascists and racists. It's crazy. But he says, I welcome all anti-war refugees to the Young Turks. I don't care if you voted for or against Trump. There is a true populist wing of the left that has always been anti-war. I'm proud that TYT and Democracy Now! Were the only two national shows who were both against the Iraq and Iran war.
I still don't get what like I don't really get what like right populist at this point, right? I understand kind of at first the way it was used, but like at this point, like I don't think. I mean, like I guess there's like people like Josh Hawley or whatever that like signal towards being all right with Medicaid, but like it feels
he ran on right to work in Kansas City, bro. Josh Hawley's a total fucking fraud. He doesn't even live in Missouri. Okay, he uses his sister's address. I have fucking many rows with Josh Hawley, but the number one thing is he pretends to be this pro-union guy. He hangs out with Sean O'Brien and all this shit. This dude literally ran on right to work when he was elected to the Senate in 2018. Okay, he ran against Claire McCaskill, who sucked. You'll never hear me say anything positive about Claire McCaskill other than that I did vote for her because I wanted Josh Hawley to fucking lose. But this idea that, you know, he's any kind of new populist is a total fraud. He is basically the guy that, you know, sort of like Marjorie Taylor Greene when she comes out here and she pretends to be, you know, anti-war and, oh, I disagree with any escalation and it's the neocons in the cabinet, not Donald Trump, whatever. But when the rubber hits the road, she's going to sign on to Donald Trump's military budget, and she's not going to sign on to the resolution to prohibit us from sending any more bombs to, you know, Israel, or certainly not to prevent our bombs from being dropped in Iran.
I also kind of hate that Josh Hawley looks like the senator from Whoville.
Yeah, he's
ugly as fuck.
He's the guy that ran. He's the guy that ran on the Grinch ruining Christmas, and he's like, no, we gotta deport the Grinch.
I think at this point it's fair to say that Cenk might have had some sort of Marilyn Manson style surgery to remove his rib cages. I'm not sure what it's been replaced with, but it seems that it's been far easier for him to suck himself off recently. I mean, he's just choking on his own phallus every single day on Twitter. And that's all I can take away from this right here. Every single time he can like make something about himself, he does. And I just think it's a really unbecoming look for somebody whose brand is circling the drain.
Also, I mean, he had Marjorie on the show like a month ago and said, we're going to unite to team up and stop this war. Well, guess what? You fucking failed. We bombed Iran a couple days ago. We're at fucking war. So what do you think is going to happen now when all these other right-wingers come on your show or come over to subscribe? Like, it's not going to result in anything, bro. All you're trying to do is expand your shitty audience. Like, that's what this is about. Why are you even making this situation about your dumbass subscriber count or your platform? If anything, if you really want to start a protest movement, schedule a fucking rally or something. Like, actually organize something instead of just organizing right-wingers to come subscribe to your channel. That's what it seems like most of his actual organizing looks like.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they've had financial trouble forever. I remember when they're like, we will not take corporate sponsors, and then they're getting like money from like Buddy Romer or whatever. R.I.P. I guess to the Louisiana goat. But he was like giving them a bunch of money, and then they're like, and that's like after he like kind of passed, and that's when they got Katzenberg or whatever. But like it's just it's pretty it's like this doesn't feel very independent. I mean, they have a lot of employees though. I guess it's like you don't want to lay all those people off. I don't know. I don't really get it. I also don't get why you'd want like all these I mean, views obviously, but like I don't know. Like I'm sure you've had like right-wing weirdos in your chat. Like it's terrible. It's awful. I remember one day I just had people writing out the N-word and I was like trying to get rid of them as fast as I could in chat, and like there were just too many of them, and it was too like that's the people that he's like you know, as long as they oppose war, right, they can enter our chat.
Also, I don't like this like whole framing of the situation where it's like You can be a anti-war Republican, you can be an anti-war Democrat. It doesn't matter. Like, obviously, I welcome anyone to change their mind. But if you're going to be an anti-war Republican, that's not enough. You got to stop being a Republican. You got to not vote for the fucking warmonger next time. So you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just get to claim the stolen valor of, oh, I'm totally part of the anti-war movement. Meanwhile, you were one of the people that fucking got us into the situation by voting for the motherfucker who obviously was lying about being anti-war. Like, no, take some goddamn accountability. And again, if you want to fucking re-register and vote differently next time, that's awesome. Welcome to the fucking resistance or whatever. But this framing of the situation where, oh, it doesn't matter. You don't have to change. You don't have to take accountability. You don't have to improve or do anything differently next time. Just come on over to the Young Turks, bro. Even if you're a fucking fascist, even if you're a total piece of shit, we don't care.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be there. The